I'm Alex Larson, dietitian, Ironman finisher, and host of Endurance Eats, the podcast where we break down the science of endurance nutrition and turn it into clear, practical nutrition advice to revolutionize how you think about fueling your body. So grab a seat, or keep moving if you're out training, and let's get started. If you're putting in the miles but still seeing little progress, and you're constantly feeling drained, you're not alone. The missing piece is probably your refueling. On October 8th from 12 to 1 p.m. Central, I invite you to join Between the Miles, Strategic Refueling for Endurance Athletes. In this online masterclass, I will show you how to fuel smarter outside of your workouts so you can accelerate recovery, shake off that lingering fatigue, and finally maximize your performance gains without adding stress to your already busy life. I'm sharing practical strategies for setting macronutrient targets and fueling on rest days. You'll also see real-life athlete case studies and discover meal and snack ideas you can implement immediately. Registration is only $25, and if you can't make it live, no worries. It's recorded, and you'll get lifetime access to the replay. Head to the link in the show notes to get registered today, and let's get you fueling in a way that truly supports the training you love. Welcome back to the Endurance Eats podcast, the show where we talk all things fueling, food, and performance for endurance athletes. Today, I am joined by French gravel cyclist Cécile Lejeune. Cécile's story is one of resilience and reinvention. She grew up racing triathlon and running at a high level, but after battling injuries and RED-S, she shifted her focus, and now she's making her mark on the gravel scene here in the U.S. In this conversation, Cécile shares her journey through those ups and downs, how she approaches fueling for long, demanding gravel races. Whether you're an endurance athlete navigating your own fueling challenges or just love hearing stories of grit and growth, you're going to get so much out of this one. Let's dive in. Cécile, thank you so much for being here today. I'm very excited to talk. I have heard such great things from other athletes. My coach, Serena Bishop-Gordon, was raving about you. And then when I went on your Instagram and I saw your content, I feel like we have a little bit kindred spirits of like finding the humor in endurance sports. And so I just loved that instantly. And I said, I got to have you on the podcast. And I feel like you have such a great story and I'd love for you to share it with others. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for all the compliments.
And so I would love to get started in having you just share more about your journey in endurance sports. From my understanding, you started kind of in the triathlon running era, and then you're from France, and then now
Yes.
You are a gravel cyclist here in the U.S. So talk to me about that journey. I'm very interested in hearing about that.
It's very bumpy. I started when I was 12. I was doing triathlons, and I don't know if it's just in France or just the way I was training, I also did a lot of running races, cross-country, track. So I was doing both of those things together. I got pretty good at it and won some bigger races, and I got a scholarship to go and run in the US at Arizona State once I'd finished all my junior years. So I was 19 when I came over. So I was able to study here and run with the cross-country team at Arizona State up in Phoenix area. So that was, for a lot of French athletes, that's a bit like a dream because you get to have the whole American university experience. And that was really something I was looking forward to. Unfortunately, for several years before that, I had RED-S, so my bone density was really low. And that the first few months I got on the team in Phoenix, I was running a lot, and I got actually it was from a crash. I fell on a run and I cracked my femur. I can't remember if it was the femoral head or neck.
Major bone injury.
Yeah. So not something that is usually cracked easily. So I took a few months off, was doing a lot of cross training, did a lot of tests. My bone density seemed to be even lower than my previous DEXA scans, which is the scan you get for determining bone density. When I started running again, 2 weeks in, 10 days, 2 weeks in, I started experiencing pain in my heels and in my lower back. And so I went back to the MRI machine, and they found a little hairline fracture in each heel and in my sacrum, which you shouldn't be getting after 10 days of running very easily. And at that point, I medically retired from running. I was still able to keep my scholarship, so I finished my undergrad and I got a master's, so not too bad. But my running days were over, and at that point, it was my whole identity. I thought it was going to be my life to be a pro triathlete or a pro runner, and I was really sad from that. It took a long time to get over. It's a bit, I don't want to call it grief, but it felt like what grief would be.
Yeah. I would imagine there would be a mourning period from having this dream and goal, and all of a sudden it's like you have to retire from it at, you said 19? Like that's, yeah, for sure there's grief.
Yeah. So yes, I suppose I was grieving my future self as a runner or as a pro triathlete. So that was, that was really difficult to go through. I think I'm a better person because of it now, because I experienced that. I see things differently, but in the moment it was difficult. And so I was able to keep a scholarship and able to stay in Tempe, Arizona. So the year after, I still wanted to exercise and be competitive because that's something that was part of me. And I joined the cycling club at Arizona State and started road cycling and doing a bit of cyclocross there. And really enjoyed it, and joined a domestic elite team, which is the level underneath a pro team in the US, and just got used to cycling. I had a lot of fitness from running and just having been an endurance athlete before, but I still had to learn the ropes of road cycling. There's a lot of rules, a lot of ways to go about a race. It's not necessarily the fittest person at the start line who's going to win, and that took me a while to understand. After my master's, that was around COVID time too. I had no visa. My visa was about to expire, so I had to go back to France. And I also wanted to do that to be able to have the opportunity of racing on the professional circuit in France or in Europe, because that's where most of the big cycling races happen. So I went and did that, raced locally on the local team for 2 years, and then picked up a pro, quote unquote, contract for 1 year with a Spanish team. I say quote unquote because although it has the status of continental team, which is the lowest of the UCI levels for a team. I was getting paid, I think, 3,000 euros a year, which that's not a living. So it was some sort of a stipend, but it wasn't my profession. I wasn't making money out of it.
Can we go back a little bit to, when you were struggling with Red S? Can you share just a little bit about how you approached nutrition back then?
Growing up as a teenager, I equated leanness to performance. And actually, even if I saw, because this was maybe true in some ways, in some circumstances for running, it wasn't true for swimming. So I had it in front of my eyes that it was detrimental to me. Yet I still wanted to look a certain way and feel a certain way and eat the way I was eating. And I thought, oh yeah, it's the healthiest way to do this. I equated eating healthy and maybe lower calories to health and performance. And I was, even before coming to Arizona, I was getting some stress fractures because of running, and I knew that my bone density was too low, and that for my age, because they normalize the results for someone's age for bone density. I knew all these things, yet I continued to eat that way. So I've never actually been diagnosed with it, but I think I could call that an eating disorder or a disordered eating condition.
Some sort of varied disordered eating for sure. Yeah. How is it going from France to Arizona and then back to France? Like, did you notice, obviously, like there's significant culture differences, but I'm just wondering, was there anything different in terms of like the sports culture and like how they approached nutrition and like body composition and weight? Did you notice anything significant there?
People here are just generally across the board bigger, and you kind of adapt your vision to what you see. So the first few months I was here, I thought everybody, well, especially as I had, at that time, I still had my perception of my body being the norm, and it was significantly smaller than like the people around me. So I saw everybody as being too big in my mind. That's how I saw everybody. I saw people snacking a lot. I saw people eating foods that maybe we don't have access to in France or that we consider unhealthy. The way that people eat food throughout the day too is very different. In France, we'll sit down for meals, we eat all together. To give you an example, with sports, just an example between some of the teams I've been with. The team I was on in France and in Spain, someone would make food, we'd sit down, have a dinner, we'd wait for everybody to be sat down to eat, and we'd do that 3 times a day for training camps or whatever. So that was really, I mean, that happens in any circumstance, but a race or training camp, that's what we do. And when I was on the Arizona State running cross-country team and on some cycling teams I've been on here, it's very different. There'll be a bunch of snacks and people will help themselves. Breakfast will be at 10 after we run, which for me was so strange to eat something before the run and then eat another meal straight after, and then what dinner lunch is going to be in 2 hours. Why are we having a great big breakfast? So it was strange to adapt to the lack of structure of meals here.
I've noticed with a few of the cycling athletes that I've worked with that are in Europe, and I guess I see this too with my American athletes, but like there's a big obsession with like what their weight is, what their power to weight ratio is, and I hear things about like the culture over in Europe. Do you notice anything different from like the discussion about like, I guess if there is even a discussion about weight over there versus over here. Have you noticed anything?
It's been very healthy.
Good. Oh, that's fantastic.
The weight of the riders isn't really a topic of discussion. But I know that on some teams I've heard of a lot of Italian teams. I don't know how true this is, but Italian teams always seem to be coming back up. The Italian teams apparently weigh their riders or pinch the rider's side to see. I've heard some horror stories about those, but no, I've never been exposed to that, which is...
Let's talk a little bit more about that red S stress fracture period of time. Like looking back, like what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned from that period, and what are you applying now into your life to keep yourself healthy?
So back then, one of my goals was to not eat so much that I'd put on weight. I was scared of putting on weight, so I wouldn't fuel my rides. I would sometimes not bring any food with me on the bike, or not eat much after I'd come back from a run. I refused to. Sometimes at training in my swimming club, they'd offer, "Oh, do you want some drink mix, something in your bottle, because we have a 2-hour workout with intensity?" And I say, "No, I'm fine." And all those things probably contributed to me having red S. And now I really pay attention to having enough energy throughout the day and fueling the work. So that will be the priority, to have enough energy to do whatever workout I'm doing. And then, having something within 1 hour of when I come back from my ride to recover.
What are some of your favorite ways to fuel your longer rides? Like, what's your go-to?
So I'm the team I'm on right now is sponsored by Carbs Fuel, which is an amazing brand. I really like their products.
I have a bunch of their gels in my office right now. Yeah,
cool. So for anyone who wouldn't know, they are they don't have that many different products.
They're newer. They're definitely newer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the ones they have are really good. Probably is their 50-gram gel that is just neutral, no flavor, nothing. It's just a 50-gram gel.
It kind of reminds me of like a maple syrup a little bit, but not like, it's not like a maple flavor, but just like the consistency is very like syrupy.
That's true. Yeah. And then they've just made a sodium one. I don't know if you've tried those.
I have tried it. I'm like, it's not my favorite. I will say, like, I like the regular original one is probably my favorite. The salted one has I can't put my finger on it, like what the flavor tastes like to me.
I like it because it reminds me of salted caramel. So.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're kind of right. It is a little bit, has a salted caramel essence to it. Yeah,
that's why I like it. But I've heard some people say that's the reason they don't like it. So,
and then they have a caffeinated one too.
Yeah, and they came out with a caffeinated one too. And both especially the sodium one, I find great. I live in Arizona and it's so hot, and you have to stay on top of hydration. And every time I come back from a trip, it takes me 1 or 2 days to readapt, because I always forget how much I have to drink here. And I try to increase my sodium intake too, because I'm losing so much sweat, both on rides and just like sitting around. Our AC is at, I don't know, 74, 75. So there are parts of the house that don't get that much AC, so I'm just sweating. So I always try to, maybe increase a bit my sodium in my meals, add a bit of salt, and then I always make sure I have some sodium in my bottles on the bike, or I bring one of those Carbs Fuel sodium gels, which, there's 450 milligrams of sodium in one.
She's salty.
Yeah, it is. So I don't think it's the only thing someone should eat. It should be something that serves a purpose in their training when they're racing. So those gels are great.
Are you doing a hydration mix in your bottle too?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends what I have on hand. I don't always do the hydration mix, because then I find it harder to keep track, because then I have to think, how much did I drink? How long has it been? Whereas with gels, if I have 2 an hour, I know that's 100 grams an hour, easy.
Do you have a specific amount of grams that you're trying to shoot for an hour when you're riding long? And even when you're racing?
It really depends on what I'm doing. If I'm racing, something depends on the race. But if it's a race that's over 4 or 5 hours, I'll try to do 130 grams an hour. There was one race I did, it's called Gravel Worlds, in Lincoln, Nebraska. I got a mechanical at 2.5 hours in.
During the mud section?
No, I think it's because of the mud.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no, I hit a pothole and my derailleur went into crash mode, meaning it wouldn't shift and the chain came up. The whole thing.
So frustrating.
Those 2 hours, I was doing one of those gels every 20 minutes, and
Oh, wow.
I was on track to do 150 an hour.
Oh, snap, Cecile. That is lovely.
So that's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah. Well, keep in mind, like when you're, and those listening, like when you're putting out those types of watts for that long, like I think during the tour when everyone was posting about how many carbs the guys were fueling with, I was like, you more watts equals more carbs. Like you have to make sure you're aligning in that power with fuel and also have the gut tolerability to do that.
The longer the race, the higher carb intake.
Yeah, because you're going to be burning through more glycogen, and you really don't want to deplete those stores.
If I'm just doing a 2 hour endurance ride, I'll reduce dramatically how much I'm taking in, because correct me if I'm wrong, but
you don't need it.
You in that first hour you are burning what you already had in your body, so you don't need as much in that first part of the ride, and it's not as long. So unless you're training your gut to tolerate a certain amount, you don't need to bring that much fuel on board during those rides, especially as they're lower intensity of their endurance rides. So
I have a saying, it's called the bike is the buffet. It kind of started with my triathletes, because I'm always telling them, like, I need you to fuel more on the bike so that you don't have to do as much on the run, and so we stay ahead of nutrition. But I do feel like with cycling, because we're using these major muscles to pedal continuously, it burns a lot of energy. And so like for some athletes where they're like, oh, well, it was just an easy effort ride. I'm like, yeah, but it was 5 hours long. So like we need to fuel this well, because it was so long, even if it was an easy effort, or if it's a shorter effort. And let's say your first hour was an endurance effort, but then you had some maybe like tempo or threshold efforts later on in the ride. Like, let's fuel that first hour well, so that you can go into that second half like ready to throw out the watts and feel good.
I have intervals. I really make sure I will fuel that first hour. I won't wait as long to start fueling, because otherwise you're just sending different signals to your body. You're like, are you trying to starve me, or are you trying to get energy out of me? So no, it's super important, and I've seen a lot of improvement in the past year, 10 months, and I attribute it, a big part of that, to my fueling, because it's something I've really been consistent with.
Good for you, Cecilia. I just love that you're really leaning into the carbs, because they really do give you superpowers and allow you to do epic things on a bike.
And a 16-year-old me saw me do this now, she'd be crazy, like, what, you're eating all of that, and seeing you're that big now, like, what happened?
But when she would look at your watch, she'd be like, oh snap, like, she'd be so impressed.
Okay, maybe it's fine then. It's not that bad.
Well, and the culture, I feel like, has changed too. I mean, for me, I'm it's probably been 10, 15. I guess I started, my first triathlon was 2009. I did Ironman Wisconsin in 2014. So it's been 11 years since I did Ironman. And cultural embracing of carbs has definitely shifted over the past decade, for sure. Yeah. And we have so many more great products. The thing I love especially about the carbs fuel products is like 50 grams of carb, and it's like $2 a gel to go. I mean, just an absolute bargain compared to,
oh, definitely,
like the Morton gels or some of the other higher carb gels. Like, it makes it a little bit more accessible for athletes on a budget to fuel themselves really well too.
And because of that, I'm really happy to be representing them, because I don't feel like I'm selling something that's super expensive to people.
Yeah, it's unattainable for some people.
Yeah, because if I'm saying, oh, everybody should be fueling like 120 grams an hour in their races, and
using $5 a gel.
Yeah. Exactly. And if you lose a gel, it's just a lot of money. So I really love promoting them, because of the accessibility. They're really making fueling accessible to everyone.
Something for me coming into gravel, it's a new sport for me. I think sometimes I have like a little bit of like self-doubt. I think a lot of athletes struggle with comparison. How do you kind of center yourself if you're ever having like those days of doubt or like comparing yourself to others? It could be in body image or even in just like training and performance.
I do still sometimes I'll catch myself thinking, oh, they're doing 25-hour weeks. Like, should I be doing more? I used to compare my body to other people's bodies, but now I've just seen so many different bodies be good at different events or intensities that you don't typically think they should be good at, that I'm like, oh, like, it really doesn't matter. It's what you do with your body, how you train and how you feel it, that really is important. But honestly, I'm thinking back to some of the stuff that I used to think. I just think, wow, like, how did I think that? And I'm so glad I've escaped that mindset. To answer your question for the comparison with training, and just there's a lot of talk about equipment too, and also how people are doing things different ways. They're luckier, they have this team or that element or this sponsor. I do still catch myself thinking, wishing I was in a different situation, or thinking that, oh, I should be doing things differently. But I'm here because of the journey I've taken through various sports and through different countries and through my academic work. I just like going through school. I'm where I am today. If there's something that I learn, I'll incorporate it into my training and my daily life. I think I'm at a point now where I managed to not really compare myself too much, which I'm happy with.
So being from France, is there foods that help you kind of connect back to home that you incorporate into your fueling and nutrition?
Bread a lot, though it's hard to find good bread here.
Yeah.
It's not as easily accessible. But yeah, we have a few bakeries here that are good here in Tucson. And when I travel, I try and find the French bakeries wherever I go. And sometimes I find some good ones. In Colorado, I found a few nice ones.
I think I saw a video of you and Sarah having a bakery stop. You were rating the baguette that you had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a pretty good one. One of the best I've had here. It might be the way I eat that reminds me of home, or the way if we have friends over. It's difficult because people have different expectations, but I might organize a dinner in a French way with, like, we'll start with an aperitif, which is drinks and snacks.
So then, invite me over, Cécile. I will embrace the French culture.
Some kind of salad, then which actually in France is called entree because it's like means to open. Sure. So it's the thing that opens the meal. Then the main course, people might have cheese in France. I don't really do that here. And then dessert.
Sign me up. That sounds amazing.
And we'll start. Here it's difficult to get people to come that late, but usually in France, if we invite friends over, it's at least at 7, and then you don't start eating until 7:30, 8.
Oh my gosh, it's so late. Like, but I have little kids, and they so we eat at 5:30. Yeah, that would be an adjustment for me to eat so late.
I eat early too now, but when I go back, it's a bit later.
This is kind of a fun question here. If you could design your dream gravel aid station, what would be on the menu?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think there'd be some carbs fuel gels, just because.
Yep.
You can grab them and put them in your pocket, and they're super convenient. Maybe some crackers, because having something salty is nice after all the sweet. So another food that I love eating on rides, I think a lot of people know I love eating them now, is Scandinavian swimmers, because they're very convenient. Each piece is 5 grams of carbs, so very easy to keep track of how much you're taking in. We need some kind of cake too, I think.
Kind of cake.
banana bread, cupcakes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I don't know. A lot of cold water, I think, with some electrolytes, a hose to cool ass up. I'm
Like a
going from
sprinkler?
the perspective
Like a
of
mister?
Tucson. Oh yeah. Ice too.
Maybe even just like a little kiddie pool of ice. We just lay in it.
Oh yeah, that sounds really good. I did just come back from a ride where it was very hot, so maybe I'm a bit biased.
They don't have this triathlon anymore, but it was in Des Moines, Iowa, in like Labor Day weekends. It was so hot, and they had like probably like 20, 30 kiddie pools just full of ice, and just or like pools, like so you just like laid in these like ice pools. It was amazing because it was
That
so
sounds really
hot.
good, yeah.
It was heaven. It was probably one of my favorite like post race sets up, and they had like food trucks everywhere.
Right.
It was the dream. That was like post
Yeah,
race.
that contrast between the hot and your
you have dry heat. In Iowa it was like humid heat too, so it was like I mean, I guess you were just at Schwamigan, and it was, the weather was pretty decent. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was actually too hot for what I had prepared because I got dehydrated in the race.
Did you?
Yeah.
But do you typically kind of monitor your sweat rate? That's something I have our athletes do, is we kind of assess like at different heats and humidity levels where their sweat rate is and make sure that they're hydrating enough. Is that something that you monitor pretty closely?
It isn't, but it's something that I'd like to start doing. No, this was just me not bringing enough water.
Well, and it's hard in mountain biking because it's such a like there's so much technical riding.
Yeah. This one wasn't too bad, but it's that I went there on my own. And so I rode to the start, and that was an hour and 20 minutes or however long. And I thought, oh, this is a pretty serious race. They'll have water at the start, right? And they only had these little water bottles.
Oh no!
And I took 4, and they were 40. And I thought, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not taking some for other people. I hope there'll be enough for other people.
Well, okay. Next, if you come back to Schwamigan next year, you call me up before. I will come and be your like Sherpa. I'll have the snacks and the fluids all there for you at the start.
All the snacks I said for the aid station. I need all of it.
Yeah, I'm not very far from Cable, so I'll just come, and if you don't have any other support, I'll come be your support.
Oh,
I'll bring some carbs fuel backups for you.
Oh, thank you for the 2-hour race. No, I had enough. I had all the gels I needed, but I just ran out of water.
We're my team and I. So I have 2 other dietitians on my team, Hannah and Mary, and we're hoping to be at Unbound next year. And Mary lives about an hour and away from Emporia, and so she bakes sourdough bread. So we were joking to Serena, who did the XL unsupported, and we're like, we're just gonna sneak some like sourdough loaves in the ditches, and you can fuel yourself that way. that was our joke to her. So, yeah, if you're ever unsupported at a race here in the Midwest, you just let me know. I can help you.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind.
Yeah. All right. Well, Cécile, thank you so much for your time today. I love hearing your story and how you made this epic comeback from Reds and are now just embracing the carbs and taking in massive amounts. I love like where you're doing 120, 130, 150 at race day, and then be able to.
That's probably as much as I ate in a day back in the day.
Yeah, probably. I usually always count it as like grams of carb. I don't count it as calories. But when you translate it to calories and you're just like, oh, wow, it's a lot. But when that amount of watts for that amount of time, it's a lot of energy that people burn. I think people underestimate how much energy is required to do the exercise.
Yeah, I don't even think of... I don't even consider those as like calories. It's just like the thing I do on the bike I need this many grams of carbs, and it fills that criteria. I wouldn't be a very good nutritionist client because I don't track calories and I don't track anything else. But it's the only thing I make sure I have is the grams of carbs on the bike. And
love it. Our athletes, our goal is we do some journaling and tracking of things initially, but the goal is to get them to the point where they don't need to monitor things and journal things. We like to have them learn, build that awareness, and then get them to the point where they can structure their meals and snacks and they're getting enough of what they need. So I would agree that it's not something long-term for athletes to try and track every calorie or gram of protein or whatever it is, but it certainly is good to just have a general sense of supporting yourself nutritionally.
Yeah, to do it intuitively, I suppose.
Yeah, love it. Well, Cécile, again, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
this was
thank you.
Amazing. And hopefully you and I get to see each other in the next year at a gravel race.
That'd be super cool.
I'm hoping to get to travel to some races next year. This year has very much been just learn what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
Build some skills, build some strength, and then maybe do like the Unbound 50, something shorter. I'm not really mentally ready to do some of the longer races with the kids.
Yeah, you'll love it.
I'm so excited. The sport's just been really fun to build my confidence on gravel. I'm still a bit of a chicken, but I'm never going to do mountain biking. I know that for sure. Gravel, I think I can do. I can keep doing.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I like famous last words. I'm never going to do mountain biking, and then next week I'm buying a mountain bike. Awesome. Okay, well, thanks, Cécile.
Thank you. Bye.
Huge thanks to Cécile for sharing her story. I will include the link to her Instagram in the show notes. She has an amazing sense of humor in her videos. It's well worth the follow. If you enjoyed today's episode, please hit that follow button on Endurance Eats. If you know another athlete who could use some nutrition inspiration, feel free to share this episode with them. For more resources on fueling for endurance sports, head over to alexlarsonnutrition.com or connect with me on Instagram at alexlarsonnutrition. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.